You hear me?
Yeah, we on there?
Yeah, all right, man. All right, guys, This is episode 4 of Wallas Madden League. I'm with the owner, the cards user. How you doing, man?
Oh, what's going on? I'm actually not the owner, but I am the owner of the cards. That is true. What's going on? We are in week 2.
Yeah, well, we just got done with our week 2 week of the league, and we're just going to kind of go through the top teams, a week 2 recap, and then have a quick interview with the coach of the Cardinals with us. So,
hey, yeah, let's do it. First of all, let's introduce ourselves. Your name again? I didn't get that at first.
I am Josh, but we're known in the league by I Penetrate. I am the owner of the Colts.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Yeah, you acquired versatile receivers. Anyways, my name is Richard, so now we're not acquaintances. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, a few questions I had for you. What were a few, after listening to your week 2 podcast over the rankings, I had a few questions. What were some matchups that kind of that wowed you, that may make you reorder your bracket of playoffs? Is there anything that kind of got your eye catching a little bit?
The Raiders. The Raiders.
I like that answer. That's
I don't think
I was thinking the same thing.
No one really expected him to go and beat the Chiefs, and for him to be that dominant and put on a show that, hey, there's no walkthrough in the AFC West, and he is the only team in that division that has a winning record. Everyone else is 0-2.
And Josh, I agree. I actually watched that game, and knowing both users and watching the way they play, we do have to still reconsider that this is a brand new Madden that we're in, and the players are still getting used to a few attributes that were given with the game, but I did see a few mistakes in that game as well. It did surprise me. I was really rooting for the underdog there, but for a while there, Chiefs was giving it to them.
Right. Absolutely.
A little bit. I did see the Raiders did slow down his number one receiver, and they did that early after being burnt. After they did that, it kind of left him, as he stated in the first interview, he didn't know what he had to do next. That's the thing about his opponents; they never know what he's going to do.
Right.
So it didn't really work to his advantage this weekend, and I'm very intrigued to see what happens in week 3 whenever he goes against the Ravens.
Right. And, and my other thing about week 2, my biggest upset of week 2 was the Texans over the Jaguars. Remember, these Jaguars beat the Chiefs. And then the Saints blew out the Texans. And the Texans to beat the Jags 42-38, and it was a combined total of, 13 interceptions combined.
Was it 13 interceptions? That's a lot of interceptions. It's, again, our players are getting used to this new game attribute that is given to this whole engine. But I'm very intrigued on the circus that is given to every viewer. But yeah, I didn't watch that game, but I did hear about obviously what was on paper. It's a very impressive game. I was also impressed by, of course, your game this past week. Tell us a little bit about that. I want to know a little bit about what was your thoughts going into the game. I know you had acquired a few speed receivers, and I just wanted to know maybe before going in, were you keen on using those receivers, or were you were more of just kind of wanting to see what you knew what they had in them, but just waiting on the
well. I was, doing some GM duties one night, and all I saw was that the Chiefs owner put Tyreek Hill on the block. It was late and no one was up, so I took my opportunity, even though he wanted Darius Leonard, who is pretty much a top linebacker in this league.
You did. You gave up a bag for that player, but it paid off. It paid off, right?
It paid off, and because people make Tyreek Hill is a big decoy because people forget on my coach team I do have a 99 speed Paris Campbell and a 98 speed T.Y. Hilton with a 99 speed running back. So it balances it out because that you can't really just utilize on one player, because if you do that, I will use the other guy as my advantage. So
yes. Very impressed. Very impressed with the Colts this year. They've had a fast start. Andrew looks very accurate, as I can see. Offensive line's holding up. You got a good team there. Division. You get the division that's run for its money.
We're trying right now. We broke the NFL record last week with 24 sacks last week. Right now, we're trying to build off of that momentum because we do play one of the top guys in the league with the Falcons. He's no slouch.
He's a versatile user, and I didn't want to keen in on that whole 24-sack game, but as it is as unrealistic as it seems, it is a very real number. Congratulations. Very intrigued to see if that number is broken throughout the season. Yes, again, Ravens user.
Yeah, with your game, tell me about a little bit about your game. Even though you had a difficult game, but you did produce a lot of numbers with your backup. So
we did. Let me let me a little evaluate that. Of course, going into week 2. Week 1, we had a simulation game. Of course, my opponent failed to show up, and it was a free win. I will take that. Take wins as you can get them. Rolling into week 2, I had a little game plan. Really just wanted to get fresh feet out there, get a few upgrades, for the tier system, a few camp tickets. Going into the game, first drive, it was a good drive. Kicked the ball off. Little did I fail to recognize was how fast his receivers were. He's really good at using, as you said in your team, decoy. As we know, Lamar Jackson's a really good running back / quarterback. The guy didn't really run the ball with him. It was more, I was always ready for it. Little was I ready for the deep route. I'm still getting used to the, adjusting of the coverages. But as I failed to recognize, coverage 2 will not beat anything deep when it comes to a post route. So always keep your eyes up. Keep your eyes up, and of course, as we've recognized in this new Madden, the DBs are gold. So you always kind of want to have them back there. D-line as well. But we did lose Kyler Murray first quarter. It was a drag. Of course, he was 6 for 6, over 100 yards. He did have one rushing touchdown for 21 yards. Quite nice. Okay. But he failed to produce a touchdown in the air, in which we want to see in week 3 against the Carolina Panthers. But in week 2, we failed to produce that. He did hurt his lower back. He stepped out for the rest of the game. Brett Hundley did fall in. Despite throwing 5 interceptions, the user of the Ravens, he is very good at defense. You have to watch out for his bait. He baits you very well. He'll run with you to the sideline. He'll keen in on one player, and little do you know, he's very fast with his thumb. He'll push that Y button very fast, and you know what? You'll never know it's coming. So you just gotta watch out. But little did he produce turnovers. Of course, we failed to produce touchdowns. He did score 71 points in those, which, given the opportunity, he only failed to score 35. We did turn the ball over 5 times despite that, but he did produce 3 touchdowns, Brett Hundley, and 356 yards. Not the best night, but what you want to see in your backup, despite the turnovers. But again, I was facing a very good user. For all of you out there listening and that are approaching the Ravens in the future, watch out for his receivers, watch out for his eye on defense, and just play cool. And look out for your receivers that are open in the zone. Other than that, that's all I really have to say. We are approaching week 3, and we do have Kyler Murray back. I look forward to giving giving the Carolina Panthers the run for their money as they are starting up 0-2. But we shall see. You know, as you said, the game could go either way, as we've seen further opponents come out with upsets.
Well, let's just dive in to these power rankings. I have the list of my power ranking.
Let's go over that. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my first. I'm gonna tell you my bottom half, and I'll work up to the top. So
let's start with 32. That's a very, very interesting number.
32nd team, as of right now, as what I've seen, and is the Philadelphia Eagles. The past two, the first game, he showed no lack of drive and ambition to win that game against his first opponent. And the second opponent he ducked from his next opponent against the Atlanta Falcons, and he hasn't shown that why he should be a contender. Right now, I see his team as a pretender. So as my 32nd team, I had the Philadelphia Eagles.
And then can I make a comment on that? With it being the Philadelphia Eagles, you would think it would be a little hard. Do you think it's more user error, or maybe is it the team actually having issues this year?
No, it's actually I'm 100%. It's user error.
Okay.
He came into the league and thought he was really, really good. He was saying the NFC East was his, and then right now he's 0-2.
Yeah, and I just wanted to clarify that for other viewers out there that are listening and that may have to face him. So, guys, of course, his ego may be down, so take advantage of that.
Absolutely. My 31st team is the Tennessee Titans, after they just gave up 61 points to the game. The was close. They didn't show no fights. And they didn't try to score or anything. They kind of just gave up after the second quarter. So I put him as the 31st team right now.
As you see on paper, we could see that change and rise here in the future weeks, but let's get a little fire under that belly.
Absolutely. And then the number 30th team I have is the Buffalo Bills. They have some grit with that team, but they're still trying to find their identity. Ever since they traded Josh Allen, I think they traded out Josh Allen, they haven't really found themselves yet. So hopefully they might, pick up a couple wins in the season. But right now they're the 30th best team. And then what I have for the 29th team is the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals have tons of heart. They almost came back from a 19-3 deficit against the 49ers, and they almost won the game, but A.J. Green dropped that ball at the end. So he's a competitive team.
I did watch that game. That was a very good game. And you know what? Props to the user of the Bengals. I do see him being in the top 20 by midseason.
I do too. The other team I have as number 28 is the Miami Dolphins. There's not much to say about the Dolphins. They are still trying to figure out. They had some close games, but they let the game go away at the end.
Who was their starting quarterback?
I think it's Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen. I want to see that kid have a good year this year. Hopefully the user can see his traits and take advantage of those.
Absolutely. And then another team that's number 27 is the Denver Broncos. There's not much I can say. Their defense should help them out. But they've been giving way too much points. They've been giving way too much points in the second half. So they need to pick it up and see what happens. Right now, as the 26th best team, I have the San Diego Chargers.
I see that being a fair ranking for him. Would you reiterate on that?
Well, look at the Chargers' 2 losses. Mm-hmm. They were within under 6 points both games. So it could have went both ways.
He could be. He could actually be 2-0.
Exactly. Just couple.
And he's a tough user. He is a really, and you know what? He's got the scheme down. This being Wallow World, he is almost. He is Satan's right hand man. Almost.
Absolutely.
And the man understands the system. So we will see this. I do potentially see this man being in at least a division competitor for a title. So
I agree.
Yeah, cold feet right now, but I see the man burning on fire here soon. I do.
And then as the 25th best team, I have right behind the division foe, the Kansas City Chiefs. There's a lot we can talk about this team. We can go. I can say the first game, it was a really close game, and he could have won that game, but fumbles and shit happens to make it not go your way. Even though you played a great game, after that first game loss, he traded away their star receiver Tyreek Hill to the Indianapolis Colts for a first, second, and their center.
And you know what? That does a few jaw-dropping, mind-boggling question marks. But little do they know, Wallah is crazy man. He will make some drastic. He will cut everybody, and the man is the next Mr. Reed. It's his world. And you know what's crazy about this? Even though he's 0-2, the man doesn't stop competing. The Raiders did put up a good fight, and maybe he did throw a few balls he shouldn't have, but the man's going to build the team. This is week 2, and this is Wallow World. We should see 99 overall teams fairly abroad the land here soon, and I think he may be right behind the Falcons as well. And as I stated, being in the division with the Chargers, it's really going to come down to them too. And I can almost put all my money on it. It's probably going to be the Chiefs that are going to win it this year. I see him, at least tweaking a few things on offense, not just having and relying on one deep receiver, but maybe exploring a few other routes. You can't use each and every one of the receivers. So I see him exploring a few things here down the road.
Absolutely. I agree with you with that. It's a shame that he lost the way he lost in week 1, but at the same time, you let that week 1 go past you and focus on week 2. And I feel like he overlooked the Raiders just a little, and he found out the Raiders came to play.
Listening to the past podcast last week's as he prepared for the Raiders, I would like to make some suggestions to him and maybe come with a game plan this next time. Maybe not just go what's off your sleeve, because
absolutely,
a horse without water can only walk so far.
I agree with you. And we could talk all day about these Kansas City Chiefs, but we hope that they can pick up where they left off last year. So to get to the next number, our rank 24, I have the Carolina Panthers. Even though week 2 they had a 41 dubbing over loss to the Buccaneers, 41-10, they're still competitive. And, this is your week 3 foe against the Cardinals, against the Panthers. And, most teams who start 0-3 doesn't make the playoffs. It's hard for them to come back from a deficit like that.
The numbers don't run. The numbers don't
exactly. If you win this game, you kind of put yourself one team out of that conversation as a potential playoff team.
You always want to be at the head of your division.
Absolutely.
Once you get to the playoffs, you're with the Sharks.
I agree. And then, I don't know much about the Panthers, but they need to pick it up if they want to be somewhat of a contender in the AFC South. The NFC South.
He's been a solid user in the past. And, he utilizes his tools very, very keenly. And once he gets going, he's pretty hard to stop. So I see him making some noise. Hopefully not against me next week, but, you never know.
Right.
It could be a toss-up.
And then rounding off our bottom half is the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers.
If you look at the Packers, they lost both their games by 3.
3 points.
So they can easily
3
go
points.
either way. They still got to find their identity. They got to figure out who they are, what they're going to be doing. Because the NFC North is no slouch. You know, you have an improving Lions team who beat the Chargers, and then you have a quiet but consistent Minnesota Vikings team. So we're going to see what happens with the Packers.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what the linebacking crew does this year. You know, having Gary up back there, I'm really intrigued to see the pressure build up. So see them to do something here, down the road. Maybe not week 4, but I see them turning it up maybe the quarter of this next half of the season.
Okay. Starting our middle half of this power ranking, I have as number 22 is the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, Money Brown, baby, Money Brown. Well, intriguing. There's a lot we could say about them. You know, it's kind of like this isn't a money league, but he sure is gambling with his cards. I'm very intrigued to see what he does with his offense.
I said the league can vouch and agree with me. When you look at the Browns team, it's eye candy. Okay, it's eye candy. You know, his team is really nice when it comes to speed and power, and just the team that you want to have on your team. But when we found out that the Cleveland Browns lost 34-3 to the New York Jets, it made us wonder, is it the user? Right. You know, you can't have a team like that and only score 3 points. I don't care who you are.
Let's go to answer to that.
Say that again?
I'm going to tell us the answer.
Say it again?
It's going to give us the answer to that will be the next week. See if it is user error or not.
Right. I agree with you. And then as our 21st best team of the league, you know, I have, after what I saw today, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. We don't know if they're for real or if it was just human error against the Texans. You know, they have scored 73 points and they gave up 74 points. So they're about dead even with their defense and offense ratio. So we got to see if the Giants can pick it up this week against the Tennessee Titans.
Wait. Let's let Josh reiterate on that. What was the last score of his game?
It was 42-38.
42-38. Okay, that was a pretty close game. Again, that's what our 4th closest game was this past week.
Absolutely. And then for them to beat the Chiefs, it gives you a head scratcher. For that team to beat the Chiefs and then lose to the Texans, who lost to the Saints week 1 by 31, it kind of makes you wonder.
It makes you wonder. It actually intrigues you as a coach here and or an owner in this league. It actually gives you hope.
Exactly, and I agree with you more. And then, you know, to round off as our top 20 team, I have the Houston Texans.
Oh,
you know, they just came off a win against the Jaguars, even though they lost the week 1 win, the week 1 loss. They won against week 2 against the Jags. Even though Deshaun Watson threw 7 picks, they still got that elusive W. So we're going to see how these Texans fare off during the season of week 3.
I do see the Texans defense picking it up here in the second half of the first quarter of the season.
Okay. As our number 19 team, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh.
Big Ben. Off them. They lost by 1 point to the Seattle Seahawks, a 25-24 defeat. And they're another team that could easily be a top 10 team just by a 1 point loss. So
it's kind of hard to rank these players. It's kind of hard to rank these teams and coaches.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. You know,
it can only get more exciting.
I agree. As a number 18 or a number 18 best team in the league, I have the New York Giants. Giants they're surprising. I can't lie to you. They're surprising. A lot of people, including myself, they're consistent. Even though they're 1-1, I feel like they could be a big contender for the NFC.
They are very consistent. The user, I feel, has got the quarterback that's now starting for the New York Giants, Daniels. I think that he's got him under control. I think he understands the connection between him and his receivers. I've seen some pretty balls out there. I really think that they're going to make a name for themselves. With Jabril Peppers being in the backfield on defense, I've seen him make a few plays in these first two games and look for him to be maybe a Pro Bowl contender.
Right, I can see that as well. For our 18th best team, I have the Detroit Lions. They were last week about 25. They bumped about 7 spots after their nice win over the San Diego Chargers. You know, we want to see, was that a fluke win, or can the Detroit Lions build momentum towards their Week 3 game?
Yeah, you know, that was a surprising win for me, you know, hearing about that, not being able to watch the game, but knowing, as I mentioned earlier in the cast, that the Chargers are going to be a contender for his division. You know, if he can beat out Wallas, but this is Wallas' world, so you can never count Wallas out. But to see the Lions usually come in and beat him, you know, it really makes you wonder, was the man asleep? Or was it just play calling by the Lions that we need to look out for, and maybe we just got lucky Week 1 not having to go up against this man?
I totally agree. You know, I respect that. And then so we're getting kind of close to the top 15. But as to number 17, I have one of the top guys of Madden 19. I have the New England Patriots as number 17.
Oh. And you know what? This man right here, the New England Patriots, he's a diehard fan. The man actually decides as a user in Massachusetts. And so even though it's only 2 shits, the man is given everything. You know, in the past few seasons, he's given it his all and actually has taken the championship. So I really see this man actually being somebody we don't need to talk about. Not in the sense of something he's doing wrong, but it's more of a waiting game. Because, of course, he's got all the pieces.
He does.
I see numbers going to eventually rise.
And then, as the number 16 pick, I have the Washington Redskins.
Oh.
They lost their last game against the Dallas Cowboys.
Strong running game.
Strong user. And, you know,
strong running game.
He's even right now. He scored 41 points, and he gave up 41 points. So he's even. So we're going to see what happens, you know, with Week 3 matchup.
A lot of fumbles in that last game. They had a lot of fumbles in that last game.
They did. They did, absolutely.
Hopefully they can cover the ball this next week.
I definitely agree with that one. I can see them become a contender in the NFC East.
Yeah,
so
I can see that potentially blossoming. They just would have to stay healthy, especially at the quarterback position.
Yep. Rounding as our 15th best in top 15, I have the Minnesota Vikings. What can I say about these Vikings? They're very consistent. They had a Week 1 blunder on offense scoring, but they picked it up against Week 2 against the Packers. And right now, as currently, they were up 28-14 against the Oakland Raiders right now. So it looks like they might win their second game of the season. So
that would be amazing. You know, it's being the Raiders being such a surprising team.
Right. So the Vikings are steady. They're solid.
Yes, they're a very solid team. You know, and this past season, the Vikings actually in the World went undefeated, and it was it was a quite amazing ride. You know, Anthony Barr, I think, led the league with over 17 interceptions, which was an amazing record. But of course, you know, this is a new season. But yes, I would like to see the Vikings stretch his season a little further and maybe put up some more numbers.
Okay. We are going to get down. We have the final 3 teams left before the top 10 right now as the number 13 best team. I have the Arizona Cardinals. They could have been top 10 if they were to beat the Ravens, but of course injuries do happen, and Kyler Murray got hurt. But they showed promise when Brett Hundley threw for over 350 and 3 touchdowns. So if they can win against their foe, against the Panthers, they can easily sneak right back into a top 10 team of the league.
Well, I would like to reiterate on that a bit. I do agree with every point you touched there. I would like to see a bit less turnovers, possibly, in this next matchup with the Carolina Panthers. As we saw this past game, the Arizona Cardinals did lose Kyler Murray close to the end of the first quarter. He did, however, have a scamper of 21 yards untouched in the end zone, which gave him a life and gave him a bit of a spark. But after seeing him go down on lower back injury, bring Brett Hundley in. Yeah, you know, he hasn't been a starter yet, and he's only started 17 games in his whole 4-year career. So he was a bit flustered back there, only being with the group 1 year and not really having any games with this offensive line. But yeah, I would like to see. I'd like to see them climb the ranks. Let's just keep our eyes out for them and see if there's anything.
We will definitely keep an eye on the Arizona Cardinals this week, matched against the Panthers. As our number 12 team of the league, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have been slowly improving ever since their Week 1 loss. They beat the Carolina Panthers 41-10 on Week 2. They're showing life. You know, they're showing life of the new system.
They are. I would say they are fucking live. Pardon my French, but you know, they do talk a loud game. They may not be the most handsome team out there, or you know, verbally inclined, but you know, they have a good, strong running game behind them, and they understand the defense. So look out for the Buccaneers to make a splash this year. I don't see Jameis up the numbers that he always wanted, but I do see that backfield putting up some Pro Bowl type numbers.
I agree with that. I'm trying to make sure it's correct. I think Josh Allen went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So big mix up right now in Walla World. Okay, so we got a transaction. So look to see Jameis actually possibly find a new home. It may not happen this year, but possibly see that man transition into. I would like to see the East Coast. Possibly, I would like to see that man land somewhere, and possibly. I would like to, maybe even the Rams. I'd like to see him fall in the Rams. I think it would re-amp his career. I totally agree with you more. You know, to that final team that is knocking on the door as being a top 10 team, it's the Los Angeles Rams. They played against the New Orleans Saints this past week on Week 2, and you know they lost Todd Gurley. In the first half.
It was a gruesome injury. Hopefully it was a fast recovery.
Yeah, I agree. Todd Gurley is known to be injury prone, so hopefully Cordell Patterson can pick up the weight if he's not coming back for Week 3 matchup.
Yeah, I'm very, 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 very excited to see Cordell Patterson splash some things up. The man's 31 years old and he's still cranking up some touchdowns. So let's see that man actually. Let's see him spark some things. Yeah.
Absolutely, I can definitely agree with that even more. We're finally knocking our top 10 teams, and our number 10 team is the Oakland Raiders. I can't really push me higher than that because their first game was a forced win. And the second win, they did enough to show us that they could be a top team when he has to be. So
Exactly. And what's crazy about that, he was He's more of a walk-on. You know, he's a veteran of the league, but he is somebody that sometimes is a bit shortchanged. So,
right.
I wouldn't see the Raiders, you know, making drastic upgrades down the road of the season. But yes, you are right. He's quite an advanced user, and he uses the defense to his advantage.
I definitely agree with you more on that. To hit the number 9 team of the league, I have the Chicago Bears. They're doing just enough to win, but I feel like they want that to happen right now. They don't want no PR on their name right now. They want to just keep on flying under the radar and keep winning the games.
They have to, you know.
The Bears are a sneaky team.
We've seen the Bears in the past, and that's a smart move by them. We've seen them in the past start out strong and get hyped up and kind of drop the ball. So let's see them, you know, be a little bit more humble this season, and let's see them stretch it down and maybe make a playoff berth. I
agree with you on that. As our number 8 team, I have the Seattle Seahawks. You know, they had a 25-24 win over the I think they played the Steelers week 2. They barely won that game. And, you know, I don't know much about the Seahawks, but they're consistent. They beat the Bengals week 1. They beat the Steelers week 2, and now they have a pretty good matchup against their foe. So we're going to see if they can keep going.
They can hold their weight. You know, to make a comment there on the Seahawks, of course, have some of the best athletes in the NFL on their team.
I agree.
And, especially at quarterback. Of course, at quarterback, you know, being one of the top 10 paid athletes right now, of course he's going to reiterate his talents. And, you know, having Pete Carroll back there as a head coach, you know, you expect this out of this team. But I'd like to see him in the top 5.
Okay. As our number 17, I have the San Francisco 49ers. What can I say about them? They don't say much. They let the game do the talking. They've been playing good ball. They need to pick up on their offense because they lacked a little bit, but they're a consistent 2-0 team right now to start the year.
Yeah, right now they're defense. They're a defensive team right now. You know, if they're going to make it to the playoffs, they may be the top 10 team right now, but if they're going to make it to the playoffs, especially in the second stretch, they're going to need a quarterback, and they're going to need somebody consistent at that quarterback position and somebody that can stay healthy. So I do agree with this ranking for them at the moment, but I would like to see what holds for them in the next 5 to 7 weeks.
Right, and I can't even agree with you any more than that. Like, what they have shown, we're going to see what they can do, you know. So
yeah, I want to take that transition.
As our number 16 of the league, I have the Baltimore Ravens. First two weeks, they've been showing up tons of numbers on offense. They've been lighting up the scoreboard. Past 2 weeks, you know, Lamar Jackson looking prime for an MVP run this year.
Yes.
So we're going to see what happens. Absolutely, early candidate right now.
Definitely, if the season were to end today, Lamar Jackson will walk away NFL MVP. That is a for sure thing. But I would love to see the record-breaking numbers he puts up this year if he can consistently keep these.
I agree.
Keep these schemes up.
To finally crack our top 5, our number 5 best team of the league is the New Orleans Saints. After they won their game against the Rams, even though first half was very shaky, they didn't know what to really do until they finally changed their game plan, and they went with a different way of passing. They took the ones that what the Rams gave them, and then when that happened, it made a better running game for Kamara to go to work. So it was an impressive win on the road.
Yeah, Josh, you know, just take what the defense gives you, and sometimes it'll
take what?
Josh, sometimes you just need to take what the defense gives you and hope so.
I definitely agree with you on that. I'm more. We're going to get into our top number 4 team. I've been quiet, and I have the Dallas Cowboys as the number 4 team. What do you think about the Cowboys for number 4?
Usually, what can we expect? Jerry Jones has done a great thing in Dallas, and they definitely built an organization that is keen on perfection and hard work, and expect money. They definitely have talent in all areas. Xavier Woods at safety, all the way from running back to Dak Prescott right there on the center. Don't mention offensive line. Hey, you even got Jason Witten coming back. DeMarcus, come on. He's a quarterback eater. And then, of course, that duo at linebacker. It's got to be the best in the NFL at the moment. You've got those two back there. The Wolf Pack, and of course, Jalen Smith. So you can't account for them in many ways.
As what?
So it's really going to be a coin toss if you're ever.
You might have cut out there, Richard.
If you're ever going to get a chance to beat that team, you're really going to have to be on all 10 toes.
Okay, I feel that. And as our number 3 team of the league, I have the New York Jets. What can I say about the Jets? They have gained only 9 points on defense, and their offense has been firing on all cylinders. They are a sneaky dark horse for the AFC to be a threat.
Definitely the number 1 defense right now, Josh.
The number one
defense.
Yeah.
Definitely. They're a scary bunch, with C.J. Mosley leading that pack, and then, of course, you got the president at safety. You really got to watch out for them.
Absolutely.
And of course.
Say it again?
I was about to say, you can never unaccount for Quinn Williams. The man ran a 4.6, weighing over 300 pounds. So, quarterbacks, good night.
Now, I definitely can't agree with you more on that one. As our number 2 team, we have the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to let you talk about them because I can't be more biased.
Well, yeah, you being a user, you've set things up for yourself. You're taking advantage of the situation and the numbers. I haven't watched your game, but as the numbers have shown us, you may be it's not the number 2 defense at the moment, giving up, 0 points this past game. But, of course, like you said, putting up the decoys of being, having an offensive line that is structured for greatness and having a quarterback that is determined to beat all records laid by Hall of Fame Manning. And, not to mention, the man has will. He can run the ball. And for the versatile running backs that the man has, you can't account for them either. They're always ready for the pass.
Absolutely.
You always have to account for a touchdown each and every offensive possession for them. So of course you have to stay on all 10 toes, just like the Jets. I don't see them falling anytime soon, but as we get into the stretch of the season, I would like to see them, despite injuries that may linger, I would like to see them reach the Super Bowl.
Okay. As our number 1, and it shouldn't be no secret, is the Atlanta Falcons. Named Chip Dip. He won the last one last year in Madden 19. He is a perennial powerhouse. And that is the Colts who played this week. We played the best. And the only way to beat the best, you have to beat the best. So, you
have to live by the sword if you're going to use the sword.
Exactly. I mean, we're gonna find out what happens with the Falcons and Colts game, but we know that the Falcons are a great team.
They are amazing. Despite the Super Bowl a few years back, they did linger. But like you, despite it, he said the user is the creme de la creme. He may be the best is. The man himself goes to those showers That's how much work he. And none of us this week put in more sweat, blood, and tears than the actual user for the Falcons.
Okay. I agree with that. He's something else. And just to let all our viewers know, that was our Wallas Madden League top 32 top power rankings of the week 2 so far. If there's anything that you might want to say, Richard, for your team or for behalf of the league before we head out of here, the floor is all yours.
Josh, it's always a pleasure to be on a platform to represent the Walla world. Of course, despite losses, we have our ups and downs and our talking and whatnot, but it's a great place. It's one of the best leagues ever. Despite this league, I've been with these men over a year now. I wouldn't rather have it any other way. I vow that I would probably never ever be, despite it ever shutting down or, hopefully nobody getting sick. But it's a great group of guys, okay? And let's keep this going, and you know what? Let's have some fun with it. And Walla, Shane, you're doing a great job, and I didn't mean that in a harm, Falcons about the shower thing, but you put in a lot of work, man, and thank you for this podcast, Josh. It was a pleasure, and you've done a great job, and let's keep this up. I look forward to doing at least 20 more of these.
Absolutely, I can't wait for the next one. This is Josh and Richard signing out.